Outside the towering auditorium of Ireland's Got Talent, Rico Elvis de la Cruz stands still for a moment, gathering the courage he has spent years trying to build. His jacket, a cheap imitation leather bought from a small ukai stall in Tondo, hangs loosely on his thin frame. The sleeves are slightly uneven, and the zipper clings by a thread, threatening to fall apart at any time, but it is the only thing that makes him feel like the legend he idolized growing up. His shoes show cracked lines across the soles, but he had cleaned them carefully that morning, scrubbing each corner until they shined as much as they could. He grips a small, worn photograph in his hand, his father holding a battered guitar while Rico, no more than 6 years old, sits beside him grinning with missing teeth. His father used to call him "my little Elvis," even when they had barely enough money for food. His father was the one who taught him to imitate the deep, soulful tone that made Elvis unforgettable. And now, after years of singing on Manila streets for coins, Rico is in Ireland, standing backstage among glittering dreams he feels too small to claim. A stage worker gestures at him. "You're next, lad." Rico nods and breathes out shaky air. As he steps through the curtains, the blinding white lights swallow him. For a second, he freezes. The stage is enormous, bigger than anything he imagined, with judges sitting behind a long illuminated table, their expressions unreadable beneath the glow. The crowd is packed with hundreds of faces, some whispering, some already judging him based on his clothes. Rico feels their eyes crawling across him, and a familiar shame rises inside his chest. He reminds himself, "This is for Papa. Just sing." Judge Maeve leans forward, eyebrows raised gently. "What are you going to perform for us today?" Rico swallows hard. I will sing an Elvis song, for my father." His voice breaks, and his cheeks burn with embarrassment. The audience shifts, some people exchange confused glances. A man in the front row whispers something to his wife, and she shrugs. They are expecting another street performer with big dreams but not enough talent to fill them. Judge Callum sits back, crossing his arms. He studies Rico from head to toe, noticing the worn-out shoes and trembling fingers. He is clearly unsure. Rico senses the doubt. It hits him like a cold wind. For a moment, he almost wishes he could run off stage, disappear, and let the world forget he ever tried. But then something inside him hardens. He remembers his father's voice saying, "When you sing, Anak, sing with your whole heart. Even if no one listens." The music begins, soft at first, a familiar opening chord that brings the ache of memory rushing into Rico's eyes. He lifts the microphone. His hands are still shaking, but the moment he opens his mouth, a warm, deep sound pours out. Rich. Golden. Unexpected. A ripple of silence spreads through the audience. Judge Maeve's mouth parts slightly, surprise glowing across her face. Callum leans forward, eyebrows rising. The crowd stops whispering. Rico's voice fills the hall with a haunting strength, the kind of sound that doesn't just entertain, but wounds and heals at the same time. He closes his eyes, singing the lyrics like they're stitched into his bones, each note carrying the weight of poverty, loss, and love. And as his voice rises, confidence begins to bloom, slow but unstoppable. The hall, moments ago doubtful, is now transfixed, caught in the gravity of a poor boy from Tondo who sings like he was born to heal hearts. Halfway through the song, something inside Rico bursts open, a quiet bravery he did not know he still carried. He reaches for a high note, not just with technique but with the raw, breaking honesty of someone who has lived more pain than his age should allow. The sound soars through the theater like a wound being torn open, and the reaction is immediate. Judge Callum, known for his cold, strict demeanor, stiffens. His eyes widen, and he instinctively brings a hand to his mouth. He tries to hide the emotion, tries to blink it away, but the note hits him again, stronger, cleaner, fuller, as if Rico's voice traveled straight through years of Callum's guarded heart. Judge Maeve is less controlled. She gasps softly, a hand flying to her chest as if the song reached inside her ribs. Her eyes fill with tears, not the polite kind but the burning kind that come from a deep place. "Oh my God," she whispers, barely breathing out the words. He sounds like Elvis, but there's something more. The audience senses the shift immediately. Before, they watched a nervous boy. Now, they are witnessing a story they remember forever. People begin leaning forward in their seats. A middle-aged woman in the second row wipes her eyes, whispering to her companion, "He's singing like he's lost something precious." Rico keeps going, unaware of the emotional storm unfolding in front of him. He only feels the music, every memory tied to his father rising like smoke. The hunger, the broken nights, his mother begging him not to give up, the long days singing beside jeepneys to help pay for their meals, it all leaks into his voice. Each note trembles with the truth of a life lived at the bottom but still refusing to stay there. Maeve suddenly stands. She can't sit still anymore. She presses her fingertips to her lips, shaking her head as if she can't believe the sound coming from such a fragile-looking young man. Callum pushes his chair back, standing too. His jaw is tight, his breathing uneven, like he is fighting something inside himself. This is unreal," he mutters, voice cracking. The song builds toward its climax, and Rico pours every drop of soul left in him into the final stretch. The theater feels suspended between breaths, silent, trembling, waiting. When he hits the final high note, holding it with a strength that seems impossible, Maeve lets out a choked sob. Callum looks down, defeated by emotion, unable to pretend anymore. By the time Rico's voice softens into the last line, the entire hall is changed. People are crying. Some stand. Some clasp their hands against their hearts. Rico, unaware of the magic he has created, holds the microphone tightly and lets the last echo fade, his chest rising and falling in exhaustion and hope. When Rico finishes the last trembling note, an almost sacred silence falls across the theater. For 3 long seconds, no one moves, no one breathes. Rico stands frozen in the center of the stage, his shoulders rising and falling as he tries to catch his breath, unsure of what he has just done. His hands shake so violently that he nearly drops the microphone. In his mind, he hears his father's voice, soft and encouraging, telling him he did well. But he doesn't know if the world agrees. He lowers his eyes, preparing himself for disappointment, the kind he has learned to swallow since childhood. Then the silence breaks. A single scream from the back erupts, followed by another, and suddenly the entire hall explodes into applause so loud it feels like thunder. People leap to their feet, cheering, crying, shouting his name even though he never told them. Some audience members are literally wiping their faces with tissues, unable to contain their emotions. One man kneels down in the aisle, overwhelmed, hands clasped as if he's praying. Rico blinks, confused, overwhelmed, trying to understand if this is real. Judge Callum is the first to speak, stepping closer to the edge of the panel. His voice is shaky, nothing like the stern judge the public knows. "Son," he starts, stopping to swallow the knot forming in his throat. "You didn't just sing. You broke every heart in this room. His eyes glisten, and he doesn't bother hiding it anymore. And somehow, you healed them too. Rico brings a trembling hand to his mouth, tears threatening to fall. Before he can respond, Maeve rises, her chair scraping loudly behind her. Her face is streaked with tears, her makeup smudged, but her expression is full of pride and disbelief. She steps around the judge's desk, her gaze locked on Rico as if he's the only person in the world. You came from nothing, she says, voice cracking as she struggles to control her emotions. But tonight you gave us everything. Rico shakes his head. He doesn't believe he deserves this. His chest tightens as panic and hope collide inside him. Please. He tries to speak, but the words crumble. Maeve doesn't wait. She reaches out and slams her hand down onto the golden buzzer. The sound echoes like a cannon blast. A shower of brilliant gold bursts from the ceiling, raining down in slow, magical spirals. Rico stares upward, stunned, as the golden confetti touches his skin, his hair, his jacket. His knees collapse beneath him, and he falls to the floor, sobbing openly, the weight of years lifting off him all at once. He whispers through his tears, "Para que papa, para ese Tondo." Maeve rushes forward and hugs him. Callum joins, placing a reassuring hand on his back as the audience roars, louder than ever. Under the golden rain, Rico lifts his face toward the lights, a poor Filipino boy who came with nothing but a dream, and now the whole world is finally listening.